This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't looking so impressive. Capcom is bringing back another classic. More info has come out about Spider-Man, and Anthem is getting an official demo. All of these stories and so much more on episode 86 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and as always, I want to say welcome to the show. Now, guys, good grief. This is a pretty big week this week. We all know that Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, is coming out this week, and I am actually pretty excited. Spider-Man is gonna kick off the doggone season, man, and I have no doubt that Spider-Man is gonna be a great game. Now, moving on from there, before we get into, the gaming news and all of that great stuff, I want to get right into the feedback section. And as always, if you want to be a part of this section of the podcast, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and leave a voicemail, or you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, I want to get into Mr. Cody Clark's email this week. Now, the title of his email is No Subject. So let's get into it. He says, wow, I didn't mean for that email to be so silly long. Sorry about that, brother. It is no need to apologize, Cody. No need at all. But let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of his email. He says, can Nintendo outsell Xbox? It's possible. I mean, their whole thing is, quote unquote, we aren't competing with Sony or Microsoft, end of quote. So we can take them at their word. But it's a smaller, cheaper system, and it seems like more and more third parties are getting behind them. I have only seen like 2 or 3 Switches out in the wild. But since the younger kids want all their tablets and cell phones and smaller things, it makes sense that the Switch will sell. So maybe it won't affect the kinds of games I want to play. And besides some internet jerks, I doubt it will have any effect on Sony and Xbox, giving each other the stink eye. It may even make Xbox swing harder and go for cross-play. Why make them an enemy when you can make them an ally? Quote unquote, hey Nintendo, you want to play some Fortnite? End of quote. Hey, listen, Cody, brother, like I say all the time, man, and I only say it because I mean it. I truly appreciate your emails. They really keep this section alive, brother. So I want to just jump into what you said. I know the question I was asking was, could the Switch outsell the Xbox? And, of course, Nintendo, this is the interesting thing to me about Nintendo. Nintendo has done a complete 180 from where they were at with the Wii U. In the Wii U era, Nintendo was getting no third-party support. They were having long gaps in between time of different titles coming out. They were just having a lot of problems. They weren't selling well at all. People want to make fun about Xbox not selling great. Go and do some doggone Wii U number research and then get back to me. They were doing absolutely abysmal at that time. And what Nintendo did, which is something I think every doggone console manufacturer needs to do, is go back to what works. Go back to what made you who you were. And Nintendo did just that. They went back to, what makes us great? Handhelds. They have held the handheld market down, bar none, over 30 years now. They have always been number one in that space. And what Nintendo decided to do, they decided to make their next console slash handheld. And it has been booming ever since. So they have made a complete 180, and I just think that it's great to see stories like this. You know, Nintendo was able to turn it around. They did what worked for them. Hopefully, Microsoft will do the same thing next generation. And Sony, we don't need to talk about Sony. Sony has just barely dropped the ball. They dropped the ball really bad back in 05, 06 when they said that, maybe 06, I believe, when they did the price announcement, said that it was going to be $5.99. Hot dog, man. Jeez, me Christmas. That was just a hard blow. But they were able to bounce back, got back to what worked for them, which was making amazing exclusive games, and they haven't really dropped the ball since. So I truly believe that the Switch definitely has a chance to. I think they definitely would do well to be able to do that, and we'll see what happens, man. But nonetheless, Cody, thank you, brother, for this email. It has been absolutely amazing. Now, people, game players out there, God dog. Ah, man, usually I let you guys know what I've been into, let you guys know what happened and all of that kind of stuff. Not too much happened this week. I'm gonna tell you, man, I was at work for 6 days straight. Got home on Saturday, and I'm recording this on Monday, and I didn't get a chance to do anything. I went to the Cheesecake Factory, had a good meal, and I just chilled on my time off. So that's about all I got to report as far as that goes. Wasn't really in anything. But I will say that, we'll save that for later. We'll save that for a little later on in the show. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. So without further ado, let's get into the gaming news that went down, God dog it. Now let's start off with a little bit of Capcom news. Now we know lately Capcom has been doing things right. You know, they've been clicking, baby. They've been doing some good things. They had Resident Evil come out, Resident Evil 7, that is, come out, and it was a success. People loved it. People thought that the first person perspective was a great change for the game. It was scary. Graphically, it was great. Great things happened with RE7. It sold well. Next up is DMC5, Devil May Cry. People are saying that it's going back to form. They're enjoying it. They're loving it. And then we can't even talk about DMC5 without bringing up Resident Evil 2's remake, which looks absolutely amazing. Stunning visuals. I mean, God dog. I mean, when the guy's body got chopped in half and he was pulling on him, Leon, come on through. And he couldn't make it and he just died. His intestines was oh man, it was gruesome. Very gruesome. So, Capcom has been on an amazing run. Well, I gotta tell you guys, they are not finished. No, people, no way, no how, buddy. They have another classic that's coming up, and a lot of you guys know about this, but if you don't know about it, they are re-releasing Omnimusha Warlords. Now, this is due out on January 15th, 2019. Now, this remake will include widescreen support, a new soundtrack, a new control scheme made for analog sticks, and a easy mode option, and it will have high definition graphics. Also, if you are a gaming purist, you don't want a lot of change in your games, you will have the option to control the game as it was originally designed to be. You will be able to control it in its original design state. Now, this game will be released for both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One physically and digitally for $19.99. Now, I must say, Omnimusha, I'm not very familiar with this game. I did see it on the PS2. It looked amazing. It looked awesome. But that was during my broke days, brother. I mean, I'm broke now, but that was when I was really like for real broke, where, $50 for a game, that was like, man, That was a nice chunk of the paycheck, brother. So Omnimusha was one of those games I meant to get, but never got around to getting. So this is something that I'm definitely interested in. I can't wait to, see the new visuals, the updated visuals and all of that good stuff. I know a lot of people had been asking for this, and shout out to Capcom apps, actually, because these guys, they were actually in another tight spot where a lot of their games weren't selling too well. Street Fighter V didn't do well at all for them. The Resident Evil series had taken a dip. RE6 didn't do well. RE5 didn't do as well. So they were really sliding and, just trying to get their stuff together. But it seems like Capcom, once again, they went back to what worked for them, which was re-releasing some older games. They were able to get some traction, able to get some money from those older projects and put that money into the newer projects. And now it looks like they're starting to get on some stable ground. So congratulations to Capcom for, coming out of that bit of that funk that they had going on for a bit. And I'm sure that Omnimusha is going to do well. And for $20, that's really not an unfair price for a game that's this old, that's being re-released. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving on. Now, let's get into some Insomniac news. Oh, Insomniac has been under a lot of fire, god dog it. Boom, 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 boom. Now, of course, one of the biggest games, coming out this year is actually happening this week, like I talked about before. And of course, like I said, it's Spider-Man. Now, if you were wondering how long the length of the game is, community director James Stevens. Whenever I hear this guy's name, I gotta laugh, man, because he was just talking about sun being shifted in the game and the puddles are still the same and you guys can see it. Nothing was a downgrade. Everything is okay. Man, listen, James, you just doing your job, brother. I feel you, man. God dog. But anyway, he said the average playthrough time is roughly 20 hours on the default difficulty setting. Now, this doesn't include if you're trying to, complete the game. Complete every optional objective. And also a little bit more news. I almost forgot. Came out about Spider-Man this week. Spider-Man will have a photo mode where you can make your own comic book panels, your own billboards, your own Daily Bugle, and Amazing Spider-Man covers, as well as add sound effects like wham with stickers, with these nice little fun stickers. You remember back in the day, and some of y'all might be a little too young, but the original Batman, TV show that came on, like the actual real live actors of Batman, when they used to hit him and make like sound effects like whomp and wham and bam. They're saying you'll actually be able to do that in the game in the photo mode. So I think that's pretty cool. And also, that's right, DLC is going to be released as well on October 23rd, I believe. I think it's going to be entitled The Heist, and it's the first of a three-part expansion called The City That Never Sleeps. I believe that's the name of the expansion. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But October 23rd, some people were upset about this, saying that they didn't understand why this wasn't in the game. You guys are cheating us out of our money. Some people were upset, but that's what happens all the time. Hey, look, man. Look, if it was in the game and you cut it, that's a little sleazy, but once again, we all know that these companies are in the game to make money. That's all it is. If you don't like the practices, don't support it. They're not putting a gun to your head, people. Calm down and relax. God darn. It ain't even like Spider-Man's a multiplayer game. Jeez, Christmas. Anyway. Moving on, quick news story, Modern Warfare 2 is now back, was compatible on Xbox One. Yay for all of you mother lovers. All right, moving on. Now into some Halo news. Now I'm sure that by now you guys already know that the Master Chief Collection is coming to Game Pass on September 1st, which is already passed by the time I'm actually recording this podcast. And it'll be getting new features such as up to 4K visual boost, as well as HDR support. Now, both, being enhancements that will only work if you have the Xbox One X. But outside of those two simple details, this update is a massive overhaul. Now, it's literally fixing, I counted them. This update and all of these different bug fixes are fixing 138 problems that the original launch game had. Now, all of these fixes will come at a super premium price for your hard drive. Now, all of these updates are going to take up 73 gigabytes of hard drive space. Hopefully you got a terabyte or 2 or 4 or 6, because man, this update is super massive. I was going to try to read off all of the updates and everything that the updates were going to do to fix certain problems. After I looked at that list, I said, oh man, the heck with this. Nah, man, just know 138, god dog. It ain't even too much more to say about this. Well, it is something else to say. Note that they said it will go up to 4K. Some people are saying it's 4K. It's locked 4K, resolution and all of this. No, man, it's only up to. So we'll see how well that goes. We know, once again, Digital Foundry is going to pull your skeletons out your closet and expose you for what you are. And I'm sure they will make no exception when it comes to this update of Halo Master Chief Collection. Let's move on into some Nintendo news. Now, in typical Switch form, the console is getting another last-gen game. Oh, man. The Walking Dead Season 1 has been released for $20. Now, Season 2 and side story, the side story that was, A New Frontier, that will arrive later on this year. But on an interesting note, though, the final season is actually available in Europe on the Switch. So hopefully this means that will make its way over here eventually. But I gotta give Nintendo props, man. I mean, look, it's not anything new. Some of these games are remasters, remakes, or just ports, straight ports like Saints Row the Third. But at least Nintendo is showing their customer base that, dag, man, we are trying. We're giving you the best we can. It might not be the best that it could be, but we're doing the best we can for what we have. So my hat goes off to them. It's a whole lot more games coming out for the Switch than the Wii U. I mean, god dog. Anyway, moving on. Now, I thought this was pretty cool. For gamers that grew up in the 90s and are very familiar with the beat-em-up genre, then you have to be familiar with legendary. I mean, this game is legendary to me. I mean, god dog. Streets of Rage. That's legendary, man. Especially if you own the Genesis. That was the go-to game. Forget Final Fight. I want Streets of Rage. Well, nah, man. Wait a minute. Let me pause on that. Final Fight to me was always better than Streets of Rage. I'm sorry. Capcom, once again, another Capcom classic. Good grief. Capcom was amazing back in the day. But anyway, let's continue on with this story. Well, the franchise is making a comeback after a 24-year hiatus. Streets of Rage 4 is in the works and is being developed by Lizard Cube, who are the team behind Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. Now, the game will feature hand-drawn visuals and an original story and new mechanics. It will also feature co-op play or solo play. But this is the thing. It hasn't been confirmed whether it's couch co-op or online co-op. Now, it also hasn't been confirmed when it will release or the platforms it will be available on. But nonetheless, Streets of Rage was dope, man. I used to really love that game. I mean, you call in the cop car and he would shoot a rocket and kill everybody on the screen when I was getting beat the heck up and couldn't manage to hold my own. I was calling that cop car and getting out of trouble. And, the game was just really, really dope. Graphically at the time, it was fantastic. I loved it, especially the second one when I think one of the characters, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, I think it was DJ, where he had some roller skates on and he was just cool as a mother lover. Of course I'm talking about the second one, but still, it was a great game, man. So, matter of fact, I gotta tell you, Streets of Rage might have been one of the few games I remember seeing a actual brother in the game. A black man. I was like, holy smoke, man, this is really, really dope. I can't remember a time outside of Streets of Rage as a young kid back in 91. What was I, about 11 or 12 years old back in 91. And I was like, God, dog, he's actually, man, looks like me. I think he had a mohawk, but still nonetheless, I thought that was really, really cool. So hopefully they'll do some, do their research, make sure that they stay true to what made Streets of Rage such an amazing game. And online co-op would be absolutely fantastic. But nonetheless, that's about it for this story. So let's go ahead and move on to some, looks like a little bit of Yakuza news. Now, if you really enjoy the games that the Yakuza studio has made and are wondering what's up next for them and the team, Mr. Toshihiro, man, I think I got that the first time. Mr. Toshihiro Nagashi said that in September they will be announcing a new IP. He also said this game will be very different from the Yakuza games. Now, this game also is supposed to be a part of Sega's Tokyo Game Show, which will kick off, if you didn't know, on September 19th. So hopefully, they'll have a new game, something brand new in a totally different direction that will stick with gamers. And, I guess we'll see. If you're a fan of that studio, definitely stay tuned. Tokyo Game Show. It will be showing off there on September 19th. Now, moving on into some Microsoft news. Microsoft. Man. Microsoft is actually releasing, I don't even know how I did that. But anyway, Microsoft is releasing a Fallout 76 bundle that will include a white version of the Xbox One X with a black finish. Oh man, what a black finish. Now the console will be exclusive. This is the downside, man. It's going to be exclusive to GameStop and Microsoft stores. Now the console will retail for $4.99 and include, of course, Fallout 76, which will be available for everybody on November 14th. Now when you get this bundle, you will get early access to the game's beta. So, that's something. It actually looks really, really cool. I thought it looked nice. I only said this may be a downside for some people because some people just don't like GameStop. GameStop, this is my deal with them. I don't like them. I don't dislike them. I think what they do is they do the business that works for them. And we all see where that's going. GameStop isn't going to be around, I don't think, in the next 10 years, or if it is around, it's not going to be the same GameStop that we see today because digital sales are going on and games are just getting stupid cheap when you're buying them on these digital sales or publisher sales. And the stores, the brick and mortar stores, they just can't compete. And with GameStop, being the games are their primary source of income, it doesn't give people as much of a reason to go to their store. But anyway, I'm rambling as usual. Let me just move on from this. But nonetheless, hopefully, people will enjoy it, buy it, and Fallout 76 will be a great game. Now, moving on to another story. Man, this one actually really took me by storm a little bit. Earlier this week, actually yesterday, another trailer went up for Anthem, and I gotta say, man, it was a story trailer, and it got me more intrigued about the game than EA's E3 conference. Now, I mean, this trailer's like 2 minutes and some seconds long, but god dog, it looks really good. But one thing I didn't know, which was very shocking to me, was Anthem will actually have a demo available on February 1st. Now, in order to get access to the quote-unquote VIP demo, you have to be subscribed to EA Access or EA Origins. Now, if you don't have access to those services because maybe you only game on the PlayStation 4, don't worry about it. It's a workaround. All you got to do is pre-order the title on any platform. Now, it's also worth mentioning that lead producer Mike Gamble did say, and I quote, "The demo is not a tech test or a beta looking for feedback." End of quote. And it is, let me continue with the quote. God dog. And it is instead a slice of our game. So the game is going to be released, end of quote. The game will be released on February 22nd, 2019. And another really great detail about this, once again, if you, don't buy anything with your wallet, you're not spending your money on something or practices you don't like, you get results like this. All future story DLC for the game, for Anthem, will be free. So that's all you gotta do. People being in all of this fake outrage about, I can't believe they're doing this to the game, or they're adding this and they could have added it in. You ain't gotta say nothing. All you gotta do is not buy it. That's it. That's it. Money speaks volumes. Okay. If a person is looking for you to pay them and they don't get paid, that's going to be more impactful than somebody yelling and screaming and saying this is unfair, this, that, and the third, and more than likely go ahead out and buy it anyway. I mean, like, well, shoot, man, they just blowing smoke. They just mad. Don't buy the stuff if you don't want to support the practices. And EA heard that loud and clear when Battlefront got tackled and sabotaged for the practices that it had. EA is kind of shook right now. Or at least, let's say EA is just playing nice right now, okay? They said, look, this is not something we can continue to do. Our business can't keep on taking all of these hits with bad publicity. Let's go ahead and rethink our strategy. And now, Anthem's DLC is free. At least the story DLC. But I'm really excited about Anthem. It looks fantastic. One thing, man, I almost forgot. Because PAX happened this week. I believe this announcement was made at PAX. But one of the developers, I can't remember his name, he actually made a little joke about Spider-Man. They were talking about some of the puddles that were in Anthem. He was like, hey, these puddles may be switched around or moved around from one side to the other. You just don't never know. You don't know right now. But I thought it was cool that he just threw a little shot, a little small shot at Insomniac. Come on, man, don't take it so serious, God dog it, people. Man, let me tell you something. People were hot, man. People were burning up earlier this week when Spider-Man was being exposed as having some downgrades. I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you, man, quite honestly, and I'm only bringing it up because, good grief, it was absolute pandemonium. Kiaun rants that I had recorded early last week or late last week, man, I have never got that much attention, brother. It was just ridiculous. Some of the things people were saying, but hey, man, it's all good. I love it. I love it. It was only to bring to the light what I saw. I'm only asking questions, valid questions, brother. Spider-Man looked like he took a bit of a ding. But anyway, let's move on, though. I'm sure the game's gonna be great. But, let's get into some, Red Dead Redemption news. Now, this one right here, this was an actual huge shock to me. Now, good grief. It was a demo show. How can I start this off? All right. During the GME 2018 conference, which I think is something that GameStop is behind, something like that. Anyway, Rockstar showed off a demo of the game of Red Dead Redemption 2. And for many attendees, they did not seem impressed. It was reported by WCCF Tech that GameStop employees did not appreciate the demo. Now, a Reddit user who goes by the name, quote unquote, U/Dut Rank, spelled D-U-T, rank, he said, and I quote, holy smoke, that, extended gameplay of what's been shown almost put me to sleep. Red Dead Redemption 2's demo looked great, but what they chose to show for the first 20 minutes was very boring and not what you would want to show to the people who you want hyped about your game. End of quote. So this seems like the game, you know, basically the section that they decided to show off could have been one of those sections where it's not a lot of shooting. It's kind of probably like the beginning of the original Red Dead Redemption, where you were going with Bonnie and y'all were going to rattle up some cattle and, you know, just kind of learning how to break horses and all of that stuff in the beginning of the game. It's not really that intrigued. Well, I was kind of intrigued, but I was slightly bored at the beginning of the original Red Dead Redemption because it really wasn't any action for a little bit of time. But once the action started, once you were out there traveling the frontier on your horse, on Seabiscuit, everything was lovely. So I'm hoping that is basically what happened with this demo. Might have fell a little short, but hopefully, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be phenomenal. I really don't have any doubts, but I thought this was just very, very interesting. I've never heard Rockstar really get a lot of bad feedback for anything that they've shown. So it was just slightly alarming, but nonetheless, I think the game is going to be great. Anyway, moving on from there, into some more Nintendo news. SNK 40th Anniversary Collection will be available on the Switch. Now, it will include 13 classics, such as Akari Warriors 1 and 2. Love those games. POW, love that game back on the Nintendo as well. And Victory Road. Now, one other nice touch to this collection is it was confirmed by NIS America that 10 additional games would be added after the game launches as free DLC. Now, they will be, Munchmobile, Fantasy, Sansuke vs. Commander, Time Soldiers, and Chopper 1. Now, this whole collection will release on November 13th. I gotta be honest with you, those DLCs, the only game I ever heard of out of that list was Chopper. Other ones, I'm a little foggy on. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to, the next story. Oh, jeez. Now, recently, we saw Cyberpunk 2077's alpha gameplay trailer, and we all got to witness the first-person view. Now, a lot of people have said the first-person perspective is a bit of a turn-off for them, and they would have much rather it be in third person. Now, CD Projekt Red has actually realized this, and people thought that because of this, and the game probably not maybe being an early production, but still a little ways away, that maybe it was a possibility that they would change this. Well, according to CD Projekt Red's Quest designer, Patrick Mills, he said that the team is remaining firm in their discussion. They're remaining firm. Now, in their discussion, he also said that they are working on implementing features for people who can't play first-person shooters for different reasons. So for anybody out there that was thinking that CD Projekt Red was going to go ahead and just go third person, like in The Witcher 3, it ain't happening, Chief. It's not going to happen. Okay? So just go ahead and just accept it. Either don't buy it or accept it and just move on. But I'm going to tell you, when I saw that demo about 3 times. I got to be honest, after hearing all of the hype and the hoopla and, oh, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. This is groundbreaking work that is being done by CD Projekt Red. My eyes bleed. My eyes bleed when I look at this game on the screen. It's so amazing. That's all we heard during E3. Was this hype level that was beyond anything at E3. So when this demo kept getting hyped up more and more and more, I'm like, geez Louise, man, this is going to be something that us gamers have never witnessed before. And when I finally got word that it was up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was at work. I was chilling in the bunk, didn't have anything to do. All of my deliveries were done, so I had time to really soak it in. And it was at night. So, the screen was extra vibrant. So, man, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, shucks, I'm rubbing my hands together like Birdman, brother. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be ingenious. And the game comes on, and of course the guy, he's giving all kind of disclaimers. Hey, look, listen, you ain't gonna Spider-Man us. Look, this is still a working in process game. Things may change. The engine might blow up and we gotta rebuild it. Don't take any of this stuff seriously. So, they definitely covered themselves. But as I started looking at the game, I'm like, man, yeah, it looks cool, but wait a minute, I don't see anything that's just mind-blowing right here. This looks like this could be a current generation game. Everybody was saying, oh no, the current generation can't handle it. It's impossible. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, it looks cool. It looks all right. It looks good. It looks good. I'm not downplaying it. Come on. I'm not doing that. But at the same time, my eyes wasn't bleeding like everybody else had made it out to be. But then I looked at it again and trying to find like different small nuances of things that it was doing. And I'm like, man, yeah, the game is cool, man. It's pretty dope. And then by the 3rd time I looked at it, now keep in mind, I'm not watching the whole 40-something minute demo every time. I only did that once. I started skipping through different parts. But I will say, man, I think I personally probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more if it was third person. Of course, I haven't played it. None of us have. Maybe it feels silky smooth. But it was something about the gunplay that I just wasn't really feeling. Like, it didn't seem stiff or anything, but it didn't do anything for me. It seemed like the gun might have held up too much of the screen. I don't know. It was just something that was just a little off about it. And once again, it is a doggone demo. It's not the full game, so we'll just have to wait and see. But nonetheless, that view was here to stay, people. So, that's the takeaway from that. Moving on into some Sony news, god dog. Sony is some savages. Now, many of us know crossplay has been a huge topic. I don't give a darn. I could care less, but a lot of people care. But some people thought that eventually Sony would come around on the idea. Well, Sony CEO, Mr. Yoshida, had this to say, and I quote, on cross-platform, Our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4. It is the best experience for users. That's our belief. But actually, we already opened up some games as crossplay with PC and some others. So we decide based on what is the best user experience. That is our way, our thinking for cross-platform. End of quote. Basically, Yoshida said, man, PlayStation better than all these mother lovers, man. What you talking about? If you want to play Fortnite with the best squad on the best console, you go over here and holler at PlayStation. You know, if you tired of these other people with not a whole lot of exclusives, you know, always relying on the same games, come on over here to PlayStation. We got you covered. We the best out. Basically, hey, man, Yoshida, I'll tell you this, brother. You know what, man? Keep that same energy, man. I'm not even mad at this. You know, PlayStation is up by, God dog, 40 plus million, you know, to the closest competitor, which is Microsoft. I mean, they're outselling them 2-1. I mean, shoot, man. You got a reason to be cocky, okay, Yoshida? All I'm saying, man, is look, next generation, it's going to be coming up real soon, brother. It's going to be coming up real soon. You just make sure that if y'all slip off a little bit, okay, don't start talking that, hey, let's go ahead and do some crossplay, buddy. Yeah. Come on. Let us in. Just make sure you keep that same energy, Yoshida. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Sony is winning. Let them do what they do, brother. They winning. Shoot, end of story. Stop being all mad and bent out of shape and make sure that the other guys, Microsoft and Nintendo, just continue to keep on fighting back, getting better, doing what they got to do to be in the driver's seat. That's all to it. Nothing more, nothing less. But let's move on to the next story now. I'm pumped up about this. This ain't even really a story. It's just to let y'all know. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise will have a demo available on September 4th, which is what? Man, that's tomorrow. I'm recording this on the 3rd. It's going to be out tomorrow. Man, I had the game imported. I didn't think it was coming to the States. I really didn't. I got this joint imported back in February. And man, I have never played a Fist game. And keep in mind, I said this before. I couldn't get anywhere in the game because I don't know how to read Japanese. I thought I could really wing it. I really did. And I got stuck because they're asking questions and I don't know how to answer them. So, but what I played, man, the fighting is so smooth, brother. It looks so gorgeous. It looks good, man. Go ahead and give the demo a try and see how you feel about it. Cause it's going to be out October 2nd, I believe. But nonetheless, give it a shot, man. Now moving on really quickly, another quick news story. Battlefield 5 has been delayed until November 20th. So I think that's a good deal. It's getting out of the way of Red Dead Redemption. It's getting out of the way of Call of Duty. And, hey, they're doing what works for them, man. So I don't think that was a bad idea. But, just on a quick note, moving on to something else. I really thought this was interesting. On a quick note, it's a game coming out sometime next year that's entitled This Land Is My Land. Now, it's an open world game set in the 19th century frontier, but it's played from the point of view of a Native American. Now, I've never seen this before. The game is let me finish reading. The game is set when a Native American country is being overrun by Caucasian settlers. Now, as far as who the developer is, the game is being developed by Game Labs, and they're actually behind a PC strategy game, the Ultimate War series, and Age of Sail Combat, which is a naval action MMO. Now, the game will be more based on stealth more than shooting. But definitely check this out, brother. This was so interesting to me when I read about this, because you never play any games from the perspective of a Native American where his land is being taken over. So I think Gun, see, I never played Gun, but I thought they had a Native American protagonist. Well, I can't even say it was Native American, it's just Native. Protagonist who was actually in the game, but I'm not sure. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But nonetheless, check this out, read it. Very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to this game and really getting that perspective for the first time, at least for me, from a game. But also, I got to tell you guys, they're not saying whether it's going to be available on console or not. Right now, they're saying it's just going to be on PC, but hopefully it makes its way to consoles. But I just want to let you guys know something really quickly before we wrap up. I meant to do this earlier. I darn near forgot. I want to give you guys a $25 gift card code for PlayStation, for the PlayStation Store. Now, this can be used to take down the price of Spider-Man, to make it cheaper. Instead of it being $60, it'll be $35, I guess. I mean, including tax. But it's just as a thank you for all of the listeners out there that listen week in and week out. Shout out to you guys. You guys know who you are. But this is for the PlayStation guys out there who own PlayStation. Use it and use it the way you want to. The code is TBK7 T2NN 2JMK. Once again, $25 PlayStation gift card store credit. The number is TBK7 T2NN 2JMK. Hopefully somebody can use it and enjoy it, put it towards Spider-Man or the purchase of another game. And once again, it's just a thank you for all of you guys that listen week in and week out. Don't worry. I know with some games coming up, we got quite a few this year. So, we'll see what happens in the future, in the next 2 months or so. But, moving on into the last story. Actually, it's not even a story. Actually, it's just the question of the week. So all access is real. Who the world knew? I remember I was talking about this. It was just a rumor at the time. I really didn't expect for this to be true, but man, they're really going for it. So once again, just to reiterate, the price point is $21.99 for the Xbox One S and $34.99 for the X. Now, some more information has come out about this plan. Once again, the 2 years is true. It's only 2 years, after the 2 years are over of you paying the, price, then you own the console. But one of the shocking things about this is it is zero interest on this, which is absolutely unheard of. I've never heard of a company giving away all of these services. Well, they're not giving them away. You're paying for them. But, you're going to get Xbox Live Gold and you're going to get Game Pass included into the payment of $22 or $35 a month, depending on what system you get. This is absolutely fantastic. But the downside to it is, I found out you can only get it at a Microsoft store, and it's for a limited time only. I believe it's going from, correct me if I'm wrong out there, but I believe it was late August or early September was when it was going to begin, and it was going to run just after the holidays. So it's not a permanent thing. It's just for the holiday season. But nonetheless, this made me come up with a question, because usually when you do this, and I understand that they had done this in the late stages of the Xbox 360. It was something that they did. I don't know how successful it was at that time, but this is not a new practice for Microsoft. But it made me start wondering, could All Access go next generation? Could it actually kind of rush over into that next generation Scarlet? The Xbox Scarlet or whatever other consoles they're going to have at that time. Could this be a model that Xbox actually sticks with? I mean, look, I'm going to tell you this. I'm a core guy, where if I want the system, I just buy it outright, right then and there. Boom, get it out the way. That's just what I'm used to. But I'm going to tell you, if they have a deal on the next Xbox where I can pay $35 a month for a brand new Xbox with the latest gaming technology in it, I don't know, man. And they're going to bundle it with Xbox Live and Game Pass. Man, brother, I mean, it'll probably be more than 35, let's say 50 or even 60, and it's no interest. I mean, look, man, I might pick up on that. I just might have to say, look, man, this isn't something I usually do, but I'm going to have to make an exception because this is a darn good deal. So I just wanted to know, and get you guys' opinion on this. Could Xbox All Access go next generation? Look, you can definitely leave your comments at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com, or you can always feel free to call in and leave a voicemail at 443-216-9934. As always, matter of fact, I want to ask you guys before we wrap up, man, just as a bonus question, what do you guys think Spider-Man is going to get as its final score? What do you think it's going to get? What do you think the something critic? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm thinking 87. 87 is what the game is going to get. I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to play it. Friday can't get here fast enough. But with that being said, guys, that is the end of the podcast this week. And before we wrap up, I just want to say, as always, remember this. It is not about the consoles, people. It is about the games. So with that being said, until next time, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.